I have been suddenly humbled, knocked right off the fancy saddle of my high horse every once in a while. I've been slapped across the face with the naked hand of truth. Now and again, I've been served a big old slice of humble pie, a few rungs lower. For me, this rapid deflation of ego has almost always happened through the tried and true foot in mouth method. I'm a talker, a typically confident one, and occasionally my verbal engine will run a little too hot. I'll get ahead of myself. I'll offer slightly too spicy a take. And then, bam, I am met with a sledgehammer of reality smashing down upon my swelled up head. See, I'm good at assuming I understand people's lives. Assuming my point of view is the default setting. Assuming my lived experiences are the perfectly situated, slightly above average ones, allowing me to both relate to everyone else and subconsciously believe I exist slightly above them. I'm not proud of that. And I actively work to get better. And my faith guides me downward toward a kneeling humility. But well, this has been my pattern over the years. Overconfidence, too much chatter, foot in mouth, knocked off horse, humbled. There's a famous story in the book of Acts about a man named Saul, later and also known as Paul. And the story is about him being suddenly humbled. It's a pretty powerful tale with relevance to right now, our modern times. See, Saul was an agent of the state, a violent suppressor of rabble-rousers, a man who had just recently watched one of those anti-empire, radical, hippy-dippy protester types get killed in the streets for talking out of turn. And Saul approved of that killing. He was caught up in the rage and energy of the powerful. He was flexing his muscle. He was breathing out murderous threats. That's a quote from Acts 9:1. Murderous threats against these early disciples who kept talking about their kingdom of heaven nonsense. Highly confident, he had just secured a new hit list. He'd obtained from his superior the probable locations of dissidents following the way. He was heading out on the hunt to imprison any and all of these domestic terrorists. When suddenly, bam, he sees a flash of light. And off his horse, he falls. Well, actually, I don't know if he was on a horse, but it fits my metaphor from earlier. Blinded, jostled on the ground, he hears a voice. If you know the story, you know the voice is Jesus. And after a few days, Saul is utterly transformed. His internal malady of blind overconfidence is healed by an external blindness that actually helps him see the truth. And it isn't God above blinding him as punishment. God didn't knock him over. It's an inner, undeniable truth that brings the clarity of humility. Love and compassion interrupted his life so dramatically that he was physically shaken and forever changed. Saul not only stops chasing and terrorizing the baptized from that point on, he gets baptized himself and eventually becomes arguably the most important character in the spreading of Christianity since that Jesus fella from earlier in the story. But that feeling of being blinded, shocked, knocked to the ground by some internal truth rooted in love and hearing a new voice, and many of us have felt that. And I'm not speaking of miraculous conversion moments here. I'm talking about everyday humblings. I'm talking about ordinary slaps of truth and perspective. Reflecting on this story, at this moment in history, it's easy to wish that a slice of humble pie would be, I don't know, shoved aggressively in the mouths of some of the agents of the state who are actively hunting down God's children in our time. That might be a prayer you and I quietly share, but I don't think that's the most important point. See, this story hits me directly. It's aimed inward. I need to be jostled by truth every once in a while. I need to notice how shiny my fancy saddle has gotten. I need to find my pride on the ground every now and then. God will meet me down there in the truth of the dust. Do I wish tragedy or crisis or hardship on myself or anyone else? No, of course not. But ego check could be the subtitle of the Gospels. Humble pie could be the official dish of the New Testament. High horses carry false power, while according to the stories at least, a humble ass is what carried the truth into town. Here's a blessing for us. Loving God, give us the courage to see ourselves clearly. Where pride blinds us, grant us vision. Where certainty hardens us, soften our hearts. Where we assume we understand others, teach us to listen. Meet us through truth, not through humiliation, but through love. And lead us gently downward, if needed, into humility, a humility that heals. Amen. Hey, Between is about you. Take this message into your life this week and fill the space between you and every person you encounter with your love and God's sacred light. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.